Gardening is one of those things that seems simple on the surface, but reveals layers of complexity the deeper you dig, pun intended. When you first step into the world of gardening, it can feel overwhelming. There's this whole universe of plants, soil types, pests, and weather patterns that you suddenly have to navigate. But fear not. Today, I'm going to share some useful things to know about gardening that will help you cultivate your green thumb and maybe even inspire you to dig in. First things first, let's talk about the soil. You might think, soil is just dirt, right? Well, not quite. The soil is like the foundation of your garden. It's where your plants get their nutrients, water, and support. Understanding your soil type is crucial. There are sandy soils, clay soils, loamy soils, and more. Each type has its own characteristics. For instance, sandy soil drains quickly but doesn't hold nutrients well, while clay soil retains water but can become compacted. A good mix, often referred to as loamy soil, is ideal for most plants. You can improve your soil by adding organic matter like compost. It's like giving your plants a nutritious meal. Now, let's talk about sunlight. Plants are like us in that they need the right environment to thrive. Some plants love the sun and need at least 6 hours of direct sunlight a day, while others prefer the shade. Before you plant anything, take a good look at your space throughout the day. Where does the sun shine? Where does it hide? This will help you decide what to plant where. It's all about matching the right plant to the right spot. You wouldn't wear a winter coat in summer, right? So don't plant sun-loving flowers in the shade. Watering is another critical aspect of gardening. It sounds easy, but it can be a bit of a balancing act. Too much water can drown your plants, while too little can leave them parched. The key is to understand the needs of your plants and the conditions of your garden. A good rule of thumb is to water deeply but infrequently. This encourages roots to grow deeper into the soil, making your plants more resilient. And remember, it's often better to water in the early morning or late afternoon to minimize evaporation. Plus, watering in the cooler parts of the day gives your plants time to absorb moisture without burning their leaves. Speaking of resilience, let's chat about pests. They're like the uninvited guests at a party, right? You want to enjoy your garden, but then you see those little critters munching away at your hard work. The first step in dealing with pests is to identify them. Not all bugs are bad. Some are actually beneficial and help control the population of harmful ones. Ladybugs, for example, are like nature's little bodyguards against aphids. You can also introduce companion planting, which is when you plant certain plants together to deter pests. Marigolds are great for this. They can repel nematodes and other unwanted visitors. And if all else fails, there are organic solutions like neem oil or insecticidal soap that can help keep pests at bay without harming the environment. Now let's not forget about the seasons. Gardening is a year-round commitment, and understanding the seasons is vital for success. Each season brings its own set of challenges and opportunities. Spring is the time for planting, summer is for maintenance, fall is for harvesting, and winter is for planning and preparing for the next cycle. You can use this time to think about what worked well and what didn't, and maybe even sketch out your garden for the next year. It's all part of the journey. And speaking of journeys, let's touch on the importance of patience. Gardening is not an instant gratification kind of hobby. It takes time for seeds to germinate, plants to grow, and flowers to bloom. You might find yourself checking on your garden every day, but sometimes the best thing you can do is step back and let nature take its course. Celebrate the small victories, like the first sprout breaking through the soil or the first flower blooming. Those moments are what make all the hard work worth it. Another useful tip is to keep a gardening journal. It might sound a bit old-fashioned, but trust me, it's incredibly helpful. Documenting what you plant, when you plant it, and how it performs can give you valuable insights for the future. You'll start to notice patterns and preferences that can guide your decisions in subsequent seasons. Plus, it's a great way to reflect on your gardening journey and see how much you've learned over time. Let's not forget about the community aspect of gardening. Joining a local gardening club or participating in online forums can be a game changer. You'll find a wealth of knowledge from experienced gardeners, and you can share your own experiences too. Plus, gardening can sometimes feel isolating, so connecting with others who share your passion can be incredibly rewarding. You might even find a gardening buddy to swap seeds with or to help out during busy planting seasons. Lastly, I want to remind you that gardening is supposed to be fun. It's a chance to get your hands dirty, connect with nature, and create something beautiful. Don't stress about perfection. Every gardener has had their share of failures, plants that didn't grow, pests that invaded, or designs that just didn't work out. Embrace the learning process and enjoy the journey. Whether you're growing vegetables, flowers, or herbs, remember that every plant you nurture is a step toward creating your own little slice of paradise. So grab your trowel, put on your gardening gloves, and get ready to dig in. There's a whole world of gardening waiting for you, and I can't wait to see what you grow. Happy gardening!